Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from high atop of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. We bring you tonight's edition of the Free Thought Forum. This is the 27th of December in the year of our Big Bang, 13,728,868,327. Give or take, about 12 hours because of the Gregorian conversion and then the Julian conversion back and forth. They couldn't make up their mind. Of course, you can always go to that fake Anno Domini one that says it's 2012, but I mean, that's a year. Yeah, I mean, it's a year named after a fairy tale, so I prefer the 13 billion.
You better put that 2012 on your checks, though, not that number you read.
Oh, yeah, they'll think it's post-dated.
Yeah, you'll be in some trouble there.
Yes, I definitely think so.
So we kind of have to go along with that, even though we don't agree with it. We go along 2012.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the world standard.
Yeah.
Anyway, at this time, we'd like to offer you actually, we wouldn't like to offer you a disclaimer, but we are forced to. Anything that you hear and say, hear us say, or our guests on this show do not in any way represent the opinions or the thoughts or the policies of WRCT, Channel 16, Comcast, or their affiliates. What you expressions, what is expressed is simply my point of view, George's point of view, and the caller's point of view. So don't go on some crazy thing if you don't like something we hear. Now, as you can see on the screen, my name is Douglas Diggens. And to my right, George Zerba.
We are.
In France, he is known as Georges Le Zerba, like that. But either way, he's still a nice guy.
Yeah, we'll be there in April, as a matter of fact. We'll be in
France. Are you?
So I'll test that
out.
You
lucky dog. Yeah. Are you going to be in Paris? Or?
Be in Paris, taking a river cruise from Paris to Normandy.
Oh, I'm so envious. I really am. That is great. That's one of my favorite cities. Is Paris? Yeah, it's so bright and festive, and for the most part, the people that you meet are friendly.
You know, like they speak French.
I know.
I think they just speak English and
get it over with. Yeah. I mean, it's coming. We're taking over the world. Yeah, so I mean,
come on,
but it's kind of pathetic, though. I went there and I couldn't speak a word of French, and all I wanted to find out was where you got the keys for the little lockup. What do you call it? In the in the train stations, you can pay a buck.
A locker?
Yeah, a locker. And I asked this news dealer. I said, "Excuse me, do you speak any English?" And he goes, "Oh, God, yes, parlez-vous français?" And he started chewing me out, and I thought, well, that wasn't too polite. But talking to a lot of people, they say that first thing that you have to do is try and speak French. Excuse me. When they see how badly that you are butchering the thing, then they'll jump in with English. But if you don't try, oh, excuse me.
Well, now we were in France, and actually I found that of all the countries I've been in Europe, the French spoke more English than anyone else. And even though we supposedly hate the French, we don't like the French, and we think they spoke more. I found more people who could understand a little bit of English in France than I did in Spain or Italy or in Portugal.
Well, isn't
So-
it actually? It's only the French fries that we don't like.
The frites.
They're American fries now, or freedom fries.
Well, I think we got over that, didn't we? I think we're back to French fries.
Yeah, back.
But
Or Yugoslavian fries.
Yeah. but most people they parlez-vous anglais, and they know a little bit. I guess England being so close, they have to know something, especially with the channel open now. You know, people are coming over all the time.
It is the universal language, and for for airline pilots, it is the universal language. Any airline pilot that goes international now has to, and I say has to, be able to speak fluent English. Because evidently that's the backup language of all the the control towers.
Gotta have one of them. So
Yeah,
might as well be ours.
yeah.
But we enjoyed the French people that we met over there. They were, of course, we were tourists giving them money, so that helps, you know. But
Well-
we didn't want to be ugly Americans over there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There are some though.
I was over there, and I went to a French cooking school over there. It was like a gourmet cooking school. School, and we lived in a chateau, the Chateau du Sonsniac, and we, you know, it was out in the country, and we went shopping every day for excuse me, for the food that we were going to be eating.
That's what chefs do.
Excuse me. And when you get in the villages, people are very friendly. You know, and it was a delightful experience. I mean, to actually, you know, we're going to have a chicken today and buy a live chicken, and then, of course, you would have them kill it like that, but you'd still have to pluck the cut and pick and feathers, which is something that I had not done since actually I was a boy in London, just during and after the war, Second World War, where they would actually do that. They would sell freshly butchered chickens. Then you had to get them home and quickly put them in some boiling water just to scald them for a second. And then, of course, little old me, I got the job of picking out all the feathers in the thing, and they tell me, well, don't forget the little ones. And basically, it kept me out of trouble.
That's good.
They know I wasn't roaming the house, raping and pillaging, you know. So
they succeeded, didn't they?
yes, I was easily entertained. But only one thing at a time. Once I had conquered that, whatever it was that they gave me. I mean, they gave me knots to tie. They would. Now I think there was method to their madness. They actually tied me up to a chair, and I used to enjoy it. And they'd wait to see how long it took me to untie the knots on it, and it was a game to me. And
You were a young Houdini, huh?
yeah, I didn't realize that they were exercising control over me. And you know, now I think of it, one of my early school teachers actually tied me in a chair. Because I think I might have been hyper.
I think you might have been. It might have been a reason for that.
Yeah, and because I would be sitting there, and the teacher would say something, and I'd look out the window, and I'd see a bird, and I'd just get up and walk to the window. Oh, look at the pretty bird! And, you know,
I can see why I had a problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah, Douglas, sit down.
Yeah, I think that's what most teachers would do.
Yeah.
Of course, back then you could do a lot more I don't know about England, but in America back then you could do a lot more to students. You could discipline them. You could smack them around and grab them and hit them, and things you can't do now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of nuns. I mean, they taught corporal punishment.
Yeah.
In the spare time, like that.
Yeah. A lot of them used a ruler. I understand.
Yeah.
I never went to Catholic school, but I understand they were pretty handy with the ruler.
Yeah, I can understand that if you could survive 4 years with a nun, that you're all set in life. I mean, you could go in the ring with Mike Tyson and take a beating, and it would seem like nothing.
Well, maybe that's why so many ex-Catholics are now atheists.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody wants to call in and challenge us on that, they can do so. You want to talk about anything? You want to talk about France or river cruises?
Or anything else.
Yeah,
I mean, we're open. Over the 10 years, or plus 10 years that I've been doing this, we have had many people call in that, regular callers that we consider our friends. There have been some very humorous moments. There have been some heated moments. And there have also been some incredibly boring moments, and we apologize for those. But that's the way it goes. And it's usually the boredom stems from the fact that people just don't call in. They want to sit in front of the TV going,
and enjoy us.
And watch it. No, because the people that call in are the people that provide the entertainment.
Maybe they're so mesmerized by our brilliance, our fascinating conversation, that they just can't bring themselves to call.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. But we're open to suggestion. Really. I mean, if you got something that you want to talk about, some subject, whatever it is, feel free to call in. Of course, we don't want you to proselytize and start going on, about how Jesus is your personal Lord and Savior. Because we've kind of heard that before. But if you've got a different sort of twist, view, or whatever it is on religion, hey, we would love to hear what you've got to say. I think the worst thing about religion is that it teaches us that we shouldn't ask questions.
Yeah, just accept it. Have faith.
Yeah.
And to some of us, faith means you don't have any proof. In other words, you don't have anything to back up what you're saying, so just have faith.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a convenient
we need
term.
some proof. We need some proof of what you're saying. We want to understand why you believe that way. Now, quite frankly, if you call in here, you're probably not going to convert us, and we're not going to convert you. So
no,
that's not what we're about.
We've come to that conclusion. And it is etched in our brain. At one time when we first started this, we figured that we were going to have the Catholics and the Muslims and the Buddhists lining up at our studio door saying, thank you for converting us and making us see the light. Well, that hasn't happened one single time. But what has happened, which we're very proud of, excuse me, is that a lot of people have called in and said to us, hey, I'm a non-believer too. And I didn't know that there were other people like me around. And I really do want to thank you for letting me know that I'm not alone. And hey, it feels good. And for the non-believer out there, you are not alone. There are, excuse me, millions of us out there. And we're here to help corrupt the religious mind. So.
Well, if they want to meet other atheists, people in the York area can come to our York meeting at the UUCY the first Saturday of every month from 10 to noon. And if you want to go to the Lemoyne meeting, we have one there. That's the second Thursday, I think, every month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you want to know more about our group, go to our website.
Yeah, or look on Facebook.com, Pennsylvania Nonbelievers, all one word. And we have our schedules. We have just about all the information that you would like to or wouldn't like to know about us, what we do, what we believe, what we don't believe in. And we're always anxious to have a conversation with someone that believes, that thinks that they have got the proof that either God exists or Jesus exists. Of course, the one thing that we don't accept as proof is that it says so in the Bible. I mean, there is no believer out here that considers the Bible, or just about any scriptures, as the official word of God. It's what maybe well-meaning people think that God would like to say if they were God, and try to convince other people to be good, put a little bit of fear into them by telling all the nasty things that God has done to the non-believers, or to the people that do not follow the instructions that are in the Bible. It's it's easy saying everything you read in this book is true. And why is it true? Because we tell you it's true. And as you know, when you read any book, ain't necessarily true. I mean, it may sound true. If you've ever read Tolstoy's War and Peace, I mean, it almost would, read like a biography. But it's got names of people that are in history, like Napoleon Bonaparte. It's got places, like Moscow, and they've got all this historical facts plugged in to this fictitious storyline. And that's how they sort of like suck you in and make it seem so real. Well, the same thing really is true for the Bible. They've got, some factual history in there, intermixed with hyperbole.
Well, yeah. In other words, it's a book that was, as I understand, stories were handed down from generation to generation until someone wrote them down.
Yeah.
And I think we all know what happens when you play that party game where you pass a secret around. By the time it gets to the other side of the room, it's totally blown up. It's nowhere near what the original secret was. So that's how the Bible was written. That's how accurate it is. It's not accurate at all.
I mean, if they were, if it was written down right at the time that it happened, I would tend to be more gullible, is the word I'm looking for. But the thing was, you start looking at any description of what Jesus did. I was almost going to say Christ, but Christ hasn't been here yet. Jesus may have been here yet. But I mean, all this was just wishful thinking. And it was written at least 60 years after Jesus supposedly died. Well, your memory kind of fades a little bit in 50 or 60 years. I know mine has, for crying out loud. It's, the older I get, the better I was. It's just the way that it happens, and you tend to embellish on stories. So now Jesus may have fed 5 people with one fish, and all of a sudden, well, No, now he's
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, people
yeah,
exaggerate.
and it just goes on and on. So, how do you believe it?
Well, there are many things that were miracles back then can be explained now. The sea parted. Well, the tide went out.
Yeah,
Things like that. A lot of things that were considered miracles then. The sun went away. Well, it was probably an solar eclipse.
the sun stood
Yeah,
still.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But things we can now explain. That's why we don't have as many miracles. Now there are some people who say, "Oh, there's still miracles today." My Uncle Joe got sick and they thought he was going to die and he got better. Well, that happens.
Yeah, you have the laws of chance,
Yeah.
and the laws of chance replace miracles.
Yeah. And so many of the miracles, like I said, we can now explain them. We know what happened.
Yeah.
But you get back to the Bible, and I've talked about this before. Wasn't he smiting people all the time?
Yeah.
Why doesn't he smite people? Some people, why didn't he smite Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden? He should have been smiting. He had some smiting to do. If God was really up there.
Well, he was the smiter,
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein was a smitee.
Yeah.
But
he should have been smiting Gaddafi, and how about Hitler? There's a guy. If anybody needed smiting, there's
Yeah.
a guy. A good smiting would have helped a lot of people.
yeah, and I mean that how many of his God's favorite people did Hitler polish off?
Boy, you think he would have done something about that. That's one, among many reasons we kind of doubt there's a supreme being up there who's this all wonderful person. Come on, how are these bad things happening? Why would he let those things happen?
Yeah.
And then you get to the basic argument: where did he come from? Because some people say, well, everything's got to have a start. It's got to start somewhere. Well, where did God start?
Yeah, but God has always been.
That's what we hear.
Like
But how can that be?
Yes, I mean, God has no beginning and no end. And of course, the reason being is if you ask the embarrassing question, who created God? They cannot give you an answer, because if God was created, God had to have a beginning. And anything that has a beginning has to have an end. So, so here it is. They keep on saying, no. But you cannot admit anything, or when I say you, I mean the religious people can't admit anything other than that God has always been, because it doesn't fit into the convenient plans and into their convenient story of God. Now, this time we would like to remind you that this is a live call-in show. And if you look on the bottom of your screen, we're asking you to call in with comments or questions, anything you think that we should talk about or would like us to hear us talk about, or you have an opinion of your own. Please call in to that number on the bottom of the screen. If you look at the number, that is a *82 on the thing, and that's the lower left-hand button on your touchpad there. If you've got a rotary dial phone, don't bother. You're so far behind the time, it's pathetic.
Oh, they can still call us. They can still call.
Yeah, they can just call the main number. So, what happens though if there was a God that created the universe? Okay, now that sort of leads you to believe that if this God created our universe, there had to be something else other than our universe that was around before it was created. I mean, this has had to be a place where this God would have lived.
He lives in heaven.
Yeah.
Wherever that is.
Well, I mean...
Well, we got a lot of a lot of galaxies out there, don't we? A lot of stars, and
Yes.
we could use Neil deGrasse Tyson here to explain this.
Yes, most definitely.
Unfortunately,
Although anyone that is really interested in finding out more, if you've got cable, if you've got an antenna, yeah, not so much nowadays, but there are so many science programs out there that go into the explanation of the scientific views that are popular at our time. And even if you don't believe it, you should at least listen to it so you can converse with the people that don't believe in religion, that don't believe in God, and you can talk to these people on the same ground as what they think, where they are coming from. I used to know this gentleman. He was I guess you could say he was a born-again evangelical, and he was probably one of the more brilliant and scientifically oriented people that I ever knew, and I used to love talking to this guy, and he really was a challenge. But son of a gun, I forget how he explained it, but in the Bible, basically it says that pi equals 3. And
3.1 does it say?
3.1417.
Well, that's what's supposed to be, but it says it's wrong.
But it says it's 3. But he made he explained to me, which unfortunately I've forgotten. It was a good point, but it had nothing to do with the the circumference of a circle or anything. It had to do with I think it was a piece of pottery or something, the way that something was made, and but it sounded like a good excuse, but everyone else looks at the thing and says, no, they're telling me that pi is 3.
Yeah. Well, it's a convenient excuse. I call it rationalization. They have ways of rationalizing things in the Bible that don't make sense and don't add up.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to believe something, you'll believe it. That's, I think, the bottom line for just about everyone. If you really want to believe something, facts will mean nothing to you. You will believe it.
Yeah, you can convince yourself of anything.
Yeah, and religion has been around for a long time, and it's comforting to people to think that I'm not going to die and just go away. I'm going to live on forever. And I don't know what people are going to do up there, and if they're in heaven, what do you do all day? Do you have a job? Do you just lay around all day? Do you read? Do you have the internet?
Yeah, I'd
do
be
you get to
bored
watch
to death.
football? That's what I want to know. Then I'd want to go there if I could sit and watch football all day. That would be okay.
Yeah, but let's face it though, it would be a great disappointment to you to go up there and find that there was no Green Bay Packers.
Well, then it wouldn't be heaven.
No, it'd be
couldn't
hell.
Possibly be heaven. Yeah. So, I wonder, what do people do up there all day? If there really is such a place, and it must be crowded. All these people that have died. Of course, maybe they didn't all go to heaven. Maybe some of them went. I don't think Hitler's there, is he?
Yeah. Well, if you look at right now, we're pushing 7 billion people on the face of this planet, and this is right now. And let's just say that the first, recorded history of mankind was 6,000 years ago. Yeah. Well, shoot, that's got to mean that must have been at least 20 billion
Oh,
people
yeah.
that have lived and died, all of them with an individual soul.
Yeah, but now, see, we didn't have organized religion then, so they probably weren't baptized. If you're not baptized, you can't go to heaven, can you?
Yeah, you've got a point there, but
Maybe they're out of luck, which is really a raw deal for these people. Here's some poor kid who never had a chance to be baptized and believe in all this, and he gets, what is he? I don't know, is he in hell, or is he in limbo, or where is he?
yeah, well, I'm quite sure that when baptism started, there was probably many a kid that thought that their parents were trying to drown them.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them were.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. Yeah, yeah. If you saw Boardwalk Empire, that's what Van Alden did to one of the agents there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he pushed him out of the water and drowned him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that show to come back next season too. By the way. Yeah, but the people, or George Carlin has brought up the fact that in the Catholic Church they changed the rules. It used to be you ate meat on Friday. That's it. You went to hell. Now, or limbo, I guess. But now they changed the rules. But what about people who ate meat? Now they went to limbo, and then they changed. Do they get out, or do they have to stay in limbo?
Yeah, I guess it's
hell,
after a purgatory. But after a certain period of time, then they get out, and they will get judged. This is sort of the intermediate thing. It isn't the penthouse suite.
It's a holding cell.
Yeah, this isn't the penthouse suite. Yeah, but then you say, I don't know how much suffering though there is in this in purgatory.
Well,
there is. Maybe it's only
maybe it's just
a
boring.
little bit. Yeah.
Maybe it's just boring to be there. Of course, I don't know what they're doing in heaven, so that might be boring too.
Oh, I'd be bored to death.
Yeah, well, it depends, I guess. Maybe
Bored
heaven is.
Well, maybe I wouldn't be bored to death. But maybe I'd ask, hey, send me down below. Yeah. Get me on the fast track elevator.
Yeah, it seems like a strange thing, God loves you, but if you do something wrong, He's going to send you down and burn you in hell,
Yeah, well, I mean, it isn't only that.
Nice.
Supposedly, that God is not only going to send you to hell. What God is going to do, He's going to make you a brand new body that cannot be killed, cannot die, that's immortal, but is still capable of feeling pain. And that is what's going to be sent to hell, because supposedly the soul won't, doesn't feel any pain. What kind of deal is that?
But it also seems that different religions have different ideas.
Yeah.
I don't even know which one is right. The Pascal's wager. What if you don't believe? What if there really is a God? But what about the other side of Pascal's wager? What if what you believe, your religion, is wrong, and the other religions are right? Maybe then you'll end up in, if you're Catholic, maybe you'll end up in Protestant hell, or if you're Jewish, you'll end up in Catholic hell, because you didn't believe the right thing. So there's that side of the wager, too. People don't think of that. They just think of this as one, if you believe in a supreme being, then you're okay. Not necessarily, I would say. And if the supreme being, why can't He convince us non-believers that He really exists? You think He would have the ability to say, look,
here it is. I'm doing this. Now this will prove to you.
Yeah.
And He will also know what it would take to convince each one of us, if He's all-knowing, all-powerful, and everything. Okay, for Doug there, I would need to do such and such, and bingo, I'll do it. See? Okay, Doug, now do you believe? You don't? Boom! Gone.
No.
But
I might now, if the Packers won 10 straight Super Bowls, I might believe. If He could do that, okay, I'll be all right with it. I'll have to go with you then. I'll say, I believe you exist. 10 straight, that would do it for me.
Okay, I hope, if there's one up there, I hope you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Right here.
Course,
that's all it takes.
Probably a Steeler fan somewhere saying, if you 10 Steelers, So this, I don't know how that works. But like I said, people are going to believe what they want to believe. even though different religions have different things, they can't all be right, but they're all convinced they're right, and they're all convinced that the other guy's wrong. That's the other thing.
You know what gets me about Pascal's wager? Okay. People say that, look, if you are wrong, okay, then you are going to be
Going to hell.
punished. You are going to hell. But what does it? What do you have to lose by believing? Okay, let me answer that in one particular way. Think back a few hundred years in the American South. Okay, you had all these plantation owners, and these plantation owners had these thousands and thousands of slaves. Now, I can imagine that somewhere amongst all those plantation owners, there was probably some, maybe one, that would not beat his slaves, and he treated them halfway nice. You know, gave them clothing, warm clothing to wear, even gave them a mattress to sleep on, plenty of food, and everything. So by the standards, he was pretty nice. There isn't, I bet you money, that there was not a single slave that turned around and said, "Hey, this is pretty good. I want to be a slave all of my life here because he isn't treating me so bad." So what they do is they gave up their freedom. This is the same way, same thing with God. What do I have to lose? I have to lose my freedom. I basically have to kiss God's butt every single day in order for me to keep on his good side. I'm a slave. I mean, I may be, owned by some kindly plantation owner that isn't beating me, but I'm a slave nevertheless. And that is what I think that many non-believers and atheists feel, that they do not want to be a slave to religion. And that's what you are. You're a slave to religion. So what have I got to lose? My freedom, my free thought. That's what this is all about. This is the free thought forum. And if I believe, then I no longer have free thought. Oh, I can think about anything that's in the Bible, but I dare not question it. So, what do you think about that, Joel?
Well, I think, first of all, Pascal's wager, why not believe? Well, if there really is a supreme being up there, he would know that you're just faking it.
Yeah.
I mean, he would know that you don't really believe, you're just saying you believe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not intelligent enough to be able to look at people and say, you really believe what you're saying, you really don't believe what you're saying. Now, I see a lot of politicians, I wonder if they really believe what they're saying, or they're just saying it to get elected, you know. But I don't really know.
The latter. Yeah.
Well, I think many of them, but I don't really know. But see, if there is a supreme being up there, he knows. He would know that.
He got the skinny.
I believe in Jesus Christ. He would know that. No, in fact, you don't. You're just saying it. You're just saying it to try to get in here, and we're not going to let you in. You know.
Yeah.
I guess he's like the guy at the nightclub with the ropes there. You know, when you go to Manhattan, you see that. You know, you see those nightclubs and they got the ropes outside, and the guy lets them in and all that. Well, that's what God would be like. He's up there with the ropes and saying, you come in, you can't,
Yeah.
I know you're a fake, get out,
Yeah, yeah. You're a pretty looking
You
person.
got a fake ID.
You come in. Yeah.
You got a fake ID, you can't come in.
Yeah.
So a Paschal wager to me is kind of silly. You just don't believe because you think you believe. Just like we don't believe in a supreme being because logic tells us it doesn't exist. And unless you can prove somehow that this supreme being does exist, we're going to continue to say we don't believe it. And it's not just to be contrary. Some people think that we're just being ornery. We just want to be different. We want to, upset people. And no, it's just what we believe. And there's more and more of us out there.
More of us out there than ever one ever thought possible.
Yeah. So what is it? 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
Now, no religion. The various surveys say various amounts, but it's been going up.
And plus another 20% on top of that really don't give a rat's patoot one way or the other. So you could sort of say that they are like atheists light. But
agnostic.
I mean, yeah, they're not worshippers by any means.
Well, they're the fanatics out there, and I see in Israel they're having a problem now with these ultra Orthodox Jews who are picking out one little girl in particular. They're calling her nasty names on the way to school because they say she dresses immodestly. She's wearing long sleeves and a skirt, and they're saying she dresses immodestly, and they're picking on her, and it's quite a hubbub over there in Israel now. And it's kind of that kind of craziness that makes us say, this is what religion is about? You've got to be so fanatical that you're yelling at a child, saying that she's immodest, and you're calling her names. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
If religion makes you do that, we're really happy to be atheists, to not be involved in that kind of thing. That's just terrible.
Beheading a woman because she was raped?
Yeah.
Oh, give me a break.
Well, Iran just gave a death sentence to a woman who committed adultery.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what Ted Turner said about that? He said, if there was only 10 rules, should adultery be one of them? He wouldn't agree with that, beheading her. Yeah. And I agree with Ted. Yeah, that's just crazy. You're going to kill someone? And they stone people over there. It's barbaric. In all the name of religion. Now, admittedly, those societies might do those kinds of things even without religion, because they're kind of brought up that way. But
religion is always the excuse.
Yes, it's always the excuse.
Always the excuse.
Yeah. How many wars have been created by religion? How many the Sunnis and the Shiites now over in Iraq? How many of them are blowing each other up and carrying on? It's been religion's at the heart of it. So.
Yeah, well, religion's always the excuse.
Yes, it is.
There, I mean, if you can justify anything by saying that your God wants you to do this or that, and that He has spoke to you personally. He hasn't spoke to everyone else. But He spoke to this one person that's telling them that, okay, look, tell everyone else I want you to do this and that. No, if I'm in a nation and he wants me to go to war with some other nation, then I expect a personal invitation from God.
But then again, the people who believe that and believe that God told them, well, you wouldn't, if God told you to do it, you wouldn't not do it. You couldn't argue with him. He knows better than anyone else. So.
But do you necessarily believe that if someone else tells you that they have spoken to God, are you going to believe them?
Well, we don't believe it,
no.
Obviously. But then God speaks to people. There was the gentleman who shot up the White House said God told him to do that. Now, but since God works in mysterious ways, how can people who believe in God not say that, well, maybe He did? Yeah. Or how about Andrea Yates down in Houston who drowned her children, said God told her to do that? Well,
Yeah, and I mean, why is it now that she will get the death penalty now as opposed to, 1,000 years ago, where if someone said, "Well, God told me to do it," they'd say, "Oh, God told you to? Oh, that's okay."
Yeah.
You want to stone your son for disobedience like that? Go right ahead.
Yeah.
But so, what the heck is different now? I mean, if the Bible is really true and God is really speaking through the Bible, then shouldn't there be all this leeway for stoning and?
Well, one of the excuses I hear is that there's the Old Testament and the New Testament, and New Testament kind of does away with some of that stuff. But why do we have an Old Testament? Why wouldn't God just have said, "By the way, eliminate that book, take it out of the out of circulation"?
Yeah.
So it's still out there. And what do you believe? I guess there are some religions who believe in the Old Testament to the core.
Yeah.
Spare the rod, spoil the child, beat your children. There's even a story about a fellow a few months ago. Did you circulate that on the internet? With this fellow who's preaching that you got to beat your children. And a couple of people have beat the kids to death.
Yeah.
And all based on...
You got to get their attention.
Yeah. That gets their attention, all right. So it sounds just so bizarre to some of us, but there are people out there who are buying this. That sounds just bizarre that you beat your children to the point where they're obviously,
Kill
died.
them.
They died. And even so, even getting just welts on them and just, having to be hospitalized. That just sounds...
Or the
how
other
can
end.
anyone believe that?
The other end of the spectrum is where these parents, their child will fall sick, and they'll pray for them.
Yeah.
They're running 106 fever, like that, but they won't take them to a doctor, like that. But we can pray for them. Now, I'm sorry, but that's just as good as murder, as far as I'm concerned.
They should be charged. I think some places they do charge the parents to do that. Yeah, and they should, because if you want to make a decision as an adult, I'm never going to go to a doctor. I don't believe in that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But a child does not have that choice. The child doesn't get to say, "Well, I want a doctor," or "I don't want a doctor." And then if they're taught that, this is the way it is, they would go ahead and believe it, of course. But they should. We should protect our children. When they become adults, then it's up to them. Then you want to live that kind of life, that's up to you. But don't do that to children.
The children expect their parents to take care of them.
Yes, that's what they're supposed to do.
And they are supposed to know what it is that is required to take their kids, to keep them safe. Take them to the hospital.
Yes.
If they're running, a kid doesn't know that he's running 106 fever.
Well,
all they know is that they don't feel good, like that, and mummies make my head stop pounding and make me stop throwing up, and and parents turn around and say, "Well, I'll pray for you." I'd like to backhand them.
That is criminal. But if you truly believe that, it's amazing that they can truly believe that, and yet children are dying. Yet they say, one of the excuses I think would be that, someone didn't really believe enough. So that's why.
Oh, isn't that a wonderful excuse? Yeah.
I understand that's also true of snake handlers. And snake handlers, someone gets bitten by the snake and dies, they say, someone in the prayer group did not believe strong enough. That's why. But, I wonder, was it the person who got bit or was it just someone in the group? Because it seems to me if it was just someone in the group didn't believe, that's a pretty cruel trick, You get bitten by the snake because someone else didn't believe.
I'll tell you, if before I handle any snake, I would want to vet every single person that was in that audience watching. Do you believe?
Yeah. Now, I did have a snake around my neck in Morocco.
Did you?
Yeah, but they didn't bite me. It was a snake handler. You take a picture with the guy, he puts a snake around your neck and you take a picture of you, So that was a fun thing to do.
I, as a child, I lived out in the Persian Gulf for a while, and I found a dead snake on the road, and of course I had to take the thing home with me and hang it on the door handle. Like that, and I know that my mother had kind of an aversion to snakes, but I didn't realize that she was deathly afraid of snakes till many years later. But I thought it would be funny, to hang it on the door and then knock on the door and then hide around the corner. But she knew like that, and all of a sudden I heard, Douglas, will you come here and please take this snake off the door?
She knew who it was. Huh?
Yeah, right away. And it wasn't until years later that she told me that, that the thought of snakes almost paralyzed her like that. So, she put a guilt trip on me.
Oh, wow. That stays to this day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't like snakes. I mean, and isn't that who tempted Eve? And that one, the snake that tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden?
Yes, I suppose that's what they say. And I don't know what was in it for the snake, to be honest with you.
Well, it was the devil. Wasn't the snake the devil?
Yeah, but...
Another thing about that story, Adam and Eve, and they had some kids. They had Cain and Abel, and then they reproduced. But who'd they reproduce with?
Yeah, maybe the giants and the...
Well, there was only one woman mentioned there. So did they...
A lot of inbreeding going on, yes.
Yeah, that might explain some of why some humans act the way they do. Huh?
Yes.
So that's it. They were. You wonder how the world got populated. It started with 4 people, and boy, it grew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all like in the last. Well, of course, if you're a true believer in the Bible, you believe the Earth is 6,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
Which, of course, then you can't believe in evolution because it can't have all these things could not have evolved in 6,000 years. And that's another thing where science kind of tells us that maybe it's not 6,000 years. We have the Grand Canyon to look at. That didn't happen overnight, and people didn't evolve. My goodness, look how much we've evolved, just stature-wise and so on.
Well, I mean, if it's 6,000 years old, and there is no evolution, where did the Chinese come from? Where did the Orientals come from? Where did the black people come from? Now, okay, some people may say, well, that the blacks lived in a warmer climate, so maybe it changed their pigmentation. But I'm sorry, there's no place on Earth where gravity is that much stronger than it's going to cause people's eyes to squint.
It took millions of years for that to happen.
Yeah. And it was survival of the fittest. I saw a program on Charles Darwin, and I mean, he was probably the most influential scientist of all time. They really got people thinking and start to question the Bible. What he did with those finches and showed how they were all the same finch, but the one on this island where it was they only had flowers that had hard little seeds on it. Well, they had the short, very strong beak. The other island where it was like the flowers, where to get their food they had to put their beak sort of inside. Well, they had longer and very, very interesting there. But of course, it doesn't exactly comport with biblical and Bible views. We would like to tell you that this is the last show of 2011. Okay, and it has been a pleasure, as always, listening to the people that called in, and to all the people that didn't call in today. So,
well, I hope they enjoyed the show anyway.
but it could have been more entertaining.
And we're
But
not done yet.
no,
We got 4 more minutes to go.
exactly.
You can
And but it
enjoy
has, we've had many people call in over the years. I wish that we had some sort of best of call in. Maybe one of these days we'll go back with all the DVDs and all the recordings and pick out some of the best moments. They're the most entertaining moments. But that's something in the future here. So looks like we've got about 3.5 minutes left.
well, we still got a lot to say. We got a lot to talk. We can talk forever.
Yeah,
Well, atheists can ramble on.
We don't care if anyone's watching or anything. We can just have a conversation here.
Well, we got not only people watching, but some of them are on the internet, doing us through the internet.
Yes.
We get comments every once in a while from people who saw us on the internet. Spread about the globe, really.
Yeah,
Take us
and
anywhere.
don't forget that on our website, panonbelievers.org, you have links to previous shows on there. So if you missed the say the September of this year show like that, it's on there. If you want to go back even further, yeah, it's on there like that.
Well, for those people who know how to use the internet.
For those people,
For us Neanderthals who can barely, get our emails, that's a little difficult to do. But I'm sure some people can figure it out.
oh yeah,
Some of
I still haven't totally figured out Facebook, for crying out loud. But I'm getting all these cotton picking messages from people on Facebook, but I don't know that the messages are there because I don't check Facebook, every single day. And
No, I don't check it at all. So.
well, if I get an email that says that someone has made a comment about me or something that I might have said, then I will click on the link and that I will go there. But I kind of like email myself. It's my preferred method of communication.
Oh, mine's a telephone. Still a telephone. I still like to talk to people. I know it's an old-fashioned concept. Nobody seems to do that anymore.
Now, I always have a problem thinking of things to say. There's only one person who I actually have a sort of like a normal conversation with, and that's our friend Jane there. And I talk to her, and it's just like talking in person. We have a member that underwent radical surgery here, double mastectomy.
If she's watching, good luck to you. I hope everything worked out.
And she's doing just fine. She didn't have cancer, thank goodness, but everyone in her family did. So she was going to take the prophylactic approach, and of course we wish her good luck.
The wise thing to do.
Yeah.
So we got about 10 seconds left, so time to wrap up.
Yeah.
So people will be back in 2 weeks.
And
save up your questions then.
And be sure to tune on in.
Yeah.
We'll be here, and
or come to our meeting, and you can talk to us there.
Yeah.